Welcome back to the cryptoworld channel, everyone. My name is Josh, and right now, the US dollar currency index is running into critical resistance, which could have serious consequences for Bitcoin and the rest of the crypto market. So I'll be talking about that in just a moment. Definitely stick around. First of all, starting off on the US dollar currency index, this is on the daily time frame, and right now the US dollar index is running into critical resistance. And in case you're new to all of this, the US dollar index is basically tracking the value of the US dollar versus a basket of other fiat currencies. And so essentially, if the US dollar currency index, also known as the DXY, is going to the upside, that basically means the US dollar is gaining in value relative to other assets. But on the flip side, if the US dollar currency index, known as the DXY, once again drops to the downside, that obviously means the US dollar is weakening. And basically what we've seen since around October, November last year, so pretty much all of this year, is a massive downtrend in the US dollar currency index, obviously forming significant lower highs and lower lows here on the larger timeframes. But once again, right now, the US dollar currency index is running into critical resistance, which is where we saw a rejection at this previous high right here. And if we actually see a breakout in the US dollar index above this previous high, that would be the first significant higher high that we've seen in around a year or so. And the reason why the US dollar index is important in regards to the crypto market is because the US dollar and the price of Bitcoin, for example, has an inverse correlation. And that is because the price of Bitcoin is usually valued in US dollars. So if the US dollar itself is losing value, then that usually helps the price of Bitcoin go to the upside, because obviously US dollars are getting worth less and less, which means the value of Bitcoin valued in US dollars usually goes up. But on the flip side, if we see the DXY or the US dollar currency index go to the upside, that is usually bearish for Bitcoin, because if the US dollar is going to the upsides and if the Bitcoin price is valued in US dollars, then obviously it will be hard for the Bitcoin price to go to the upside while the US dollar is also going to the upside. And we can actually see this in action, as you can see right here. This is on the daily Bitcoin chart. The Bitcoin price is the candlesticks right here, and this red line is the DXY. And obviously what we could see so far this year is basically every major pump in the price of Bitcoin happened around the same time where the DXY is going to the downsides. But on the flip side, when the DXY is going to the upside, that usually happens when the Bitcoin price is more bearish. And of course, this has been the case especially more recently. Obviously, we were bearish in the Bitcoin price back during around May and early June, right when the DXY was going to the upsides. And then, of course, the DXY reversed and flipped more bearish in the shorter term just before this major pump in the price of Bitcoin. And then, obviously, not long after that, the DXY bottomed out and started reversing back to the upside again, which has been the case over the last 1 month or so. And basically, ever since the DXY has been going to the upside over the last 1 month, obviously, the price of Bitcoin has been more bearish in the shorter term. And in fact, if you zoom out to the much larger time frames, looking at the weekly Bitcoin chart, this is looking at multiple years worth of history. And what we can see is even on the much larger scale, the same effect applies. Once again, when the DXY is going to the downside, that usually happens during a larger bull market or a much larger bullish trend, like for example 2017 or late 2020 entering into early 2021. And also what we've seen so far this year, because obviously since around November last year, the Bitcoin price has been in a major uptrend on the larger time frames, and at the same time, the DXY since around October, November last year has been in a major downtrend. But of course, we can also see what happens when the DXY is moving to the upside on the larger time frames. This usually happens during major Bitcoin bear markets, like for example back here during 2018, and also of course during 2022, we saw a major move to the upside in the DXY at the exact same time where the Bitcoin price was in a major bear market. And so once again, right now on the daily time frame, the DXY is testing this important resistance, which is sitting at around 104 to around 104.6 to 104.7, around that area. But basically, if we start to see the DXY break out above this previous high and form a new higher high, and more importantly, if we flip that into new support and actually confirm a new higher low, then obviously that would be bullish price structure and point towards a possible trend reversal for the DXY out of this massive bearish trend. And obviously, if that happens, if we do see a major breakout here in the DXY, once again, that would be bearish for the price of Bitcoin based on multiple years worth of history. And so this is just something that I'm paying attention to. And of course, if anything new happens, I'll be sure to let you know about it in these videos. So make sure you subscribe to this channel with notifications turned on and follow me over on Twitter for real-time updates throughout the day. Link down below in the description and in the pinned comment. But anyway, now taking a look at the daily Bitcoin chart, and over the last one day, not much has changed on this chart. So if you're new to the channel and you want to know more about this chart right here, then check out my last video on this channel. But anyway, if you're zooming into the 4-hour Bitcoin chart, technically speaking, this short-term bullish divergence is still currently active because we have not yet broken below this previous low in the price or in the RSI. And of course, the RSI on the 4-hour chart is still technically trending to the upside, forming higher lows and higher highs and remaining above this ascending line of support. And so due to all of those reasons, once again, technically speaking, this short-term bullish divergence is still currently active. And so once again, what this means is essentially we're taking a bit of a pause from this bearish trend here on the daily time frame. And in case you're new to the channel, by pause, what I mean is either some choppy sideways price action, if not a slight bullish relief, but not necessarily the reversal out of this bearish trend. But anyway, now getting into the Ethereum part of this video, this is on the daily ETH to US dollar chart. And right now, the price of ETH is still running into this important area of support, sitting in between around 1650 to 1.7k. And of course, as of right now, like Bitcoin, technically we're still within a shorter term bearish trend. And if you're looking at the daily Ethereum price oscillators, as of right now, the RSI is actually starting to move out of oversold territories, which once again, as I've been saying over the last few days, if we start to see a further reset in this RSI, that could actually give us more room to the downside later on to potentially continue that bearish trend. Now, obviously, I'm not saying that is definitely going to play out. I'm just saying that is a possibility that we need to consider. And so due to that reason, just because the RSI entered into oversold territories, that doesn't necessarily mean the short-term bearish trend is completely over. At least for now, we're just taking a bit of a pause from the short-term bearish trend. And now, if we do end up ultimately breaking below this important support, so below around 1640 to 1650, which is where the 38.2% Fibonacci level of support is sitting at, then in that case, we have the 50% retracement level sitting at around 1510 to 1520, acting as support. And below that level, we have the important golden pocket area of support sitting in between around 1360 to 1.4k. And now, if you zoom into the much shorter term, looking at the 4-hour ETH to US dollar chart, once again, like I said, for Bitcoin on the 4-hour time frame, technically speaking, this short-term bullish divergence is still currently active for all the same reasons. And so once again, like I said in my last 2 videos here on the channel, this means we're likely going to see a bit more of a pause from that short-term bearish trend, which is likely going to play out in the form of either choppy sideways price action, if not a slight bullish relief, just in the imminent short term, talking about the coming days. But if you want to know how to make a lot of money in crypto, no matter if the price is going to the upside, to the downside, or simply chopping around sideways in the short term like right now, then make sure to watch these videos popping up right here on your screen. The video in the top left shows you how to make money if the price is bullish or bearish using AI, and the video in the bottom left shows you how you can easily profit from choppy sideways price action. But anyway, that's everything that I have to say for today. I really hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you all in the next video.